Oh God. How's everybody doing? Oh yes, my hat. My hat. I forgot to put my hat. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, the priesthood, right? Well, everybody, we're doing part two of I believe it's Taurus and Pisces. Okay, and we're gonna jump right in and discuss no, the compatibility of signs, which is Taurus and Pisces. And we spoke plenty about Pisces, and we haven't really discussed that much about Taurus. Okay, so one of the things that I want to say about the Taurus and the Pisces compatibility, because it is a compatibility of signs, is that they seem, like I mentioned in part one, so good together. Yes, I know, I know. No, they seem so good together. You know, but just because they're earth and water, like I mentioned in part one, doesn't mean that the simpatico is going to run smoothly. The modality is fixed and which also works. It can most certainly work. Um, there are things though that both signs are so similar, and so um, both of them can reach bliss in such a way that it can. This is the kind of couple. This is the kind of combination that this couple, other things being equal, they know each other well, they have good education, exposure, upbringing, the whole nine. If everything being equal, um, is the case, for example, in a particular scenario of a combination of this type, then this is the type of combination that can actually reach old age and the twilight years. Right? And it's not going to happen, though, smooth sailing. Earth and water is very simpatico. They do well together. But there are certain signs under that same simpatico compatibility that can actually be very bad for each other, and that you will suspect that they do well together, but they can actually do terrible together unless there's an adjustment. If there is some kind of adjustment that needs to be made, let me fix this properly. They're telling me to fix my hat properly. Uh, if this is the situation, then this is kind of like smooth sailing. Not much needs to be discovered about each other. Not much needs to be, how can I put it? I'm trying to adjust the mic here. Okay. This is terrible. I'm telling you, if it's not one thing, it's another. But yes, there's not much explanation that needs to be said if you're dealing with this combination and the people are older and educated, like I mentioned. So we're going to talk about, in part two, if this couple is young, if this couple is below 30, because that's where the sparks are. It's not really there after age 30. And when I say after age 30, really I mean after age 40. After age 40, okay? Yeah, there's something going on here. Yes, it's terrible. Well, anyway, let me proceed. Oh, let me proceed. This is terrible. I tell you, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. Now the mic is not working properly. Anyway, let's stick with below 30, because that's where the sparks are flying. Like I mentioned, if it's past 40, the sparks are simmering down. Hopefully, they'll be completely done by age 50. But this is more of a whimsical desire than an actual statement of fact. The reality is that with this combination, you have a what can I put it? You have a situation where um you can divorce right at midlife after struggling and fighting for half a century. In your 50s, you still divorce and separate, and it can happen suddenly and without warning. That's the negative. The positive is that you can reach your twilight years because you have gone through so much. Okay, you have gone through so much. Now this is turning on the music. What happened to the speaker? Oh, this is not. Now music turned on. Oh my God. Let's jump in and talk specifically about Taurus, the Taurus man with the Pisces woman. And then we are going to flip it. Okay? One thing that you have to understand, and I'm talking to you, Miss Pisces, as a woman, if you want to attract a Taurus man, you have to understand that the Taurus man doesn't fall in love that easily. He's not one to fall in love at a drop of a hat. Okay? The Taurus man takes his time in starting a relationship, savoring the courtship and the anticipation even before the relationship gets started, even before you guys even meet, even before you guys even get together. He's already formulating all kinds of fantasies, picturing you naked, picturing you in bed, your performance, everything, how you smell, how you taste. He savors the courtship game. He savors, every single ounce and moment of the experience of the preliminaries of a relationship, of getting together, of courting. This is also true of the Taurus woman. Okay? They don't like to rush, and they don't like to rush their decisions either when it comes to hooking up with somebody. They take their time in hooking up with somebody. They take their time to want to know how they feel about you, how they. It's almost like they do a trajectory. They want to know how you feel about yourself, how you feel about them, how you feel about family. There's a lot that they really care about and that they want to know before they invest their energy onto you. Yes, understand that they can be extremely attracted to you. They can be extremely um uh a need of wanting to be in your presence because there's an affectionate need to touch and feel and experience the person in all of their dimensions. This is something that is very deep within the emotional need of the Taurian man or the Taurian woman. They're just not going to rush in and jump right in, you know, despite how their bodies beg and burn and long for your touch and your affection and intimacy. The Taurian man, as the Taurian woman, will be very patient. They know how to curb those desires and put them at bay until they are absolutely sure that you are the person that they feel that they can trust with their most intimate inner resources, which is their love. And with that love comes everything. Everything. She opens her heart to you. She'll open her legs to you, and she'll open her wallet to you, and she'll open everything to you. There isn't anything that is not within your reach if you're with a Taurus man or with a Taurus woman. Cranberry martini. good. I like my mango though. Anyway, so understand that the initial Taurus stages of a relationship with a Taurus, a Taurian, it doesn't matter if it's a Pisces woman or any other woman of the sign. If you're going to connect with a Taurian man or a Taurian woman, understand that this is going to be a slow process. Taurus is sensual. It's a slow burn sensuality which simmers in a frying pan. Smells delicious, looks delicious, and God knows the heaven that awaits you when you taste it. That is Taurian sensuality. I just bit my tongue. I'm saying too much about the sexuality. I'm not allowed to talk too much about the sexuality. The sensuality I can get away with. But understand that the sensuality and sexuality for a Taurian man and a Taurian woman is extremely important. It can make or break a relationship. No, it doesn't mean that they're vain and that they're all about the flesh and desire and the carnal natures of the flesh. But really, yes, they are. They're just not going to really express that openly. Yes, there's a lot more to a relationship than sex and sensuality. But let me tell you, if that is good and ready to go, the Taurian man or woman will put up with a lot. To really attract this person, the Taurian man or the Taurian woman, you have to pay attention to detail. Remember, this is an earth sign, like Virgo and Capricorn. Paying attention to the world around you and the immediacy of the moment and what's available to you is extremely important to these people. Let me tell you something else that's important, particularly about the Taurus man and the Taurus woman, is their values. Their sense of value. And that sense of value comes from the home environment, the upbringing, the parental influences, and also secondary influences like friends, extended family, professors and teachers, and even individual and personal experiences. All of these things help shape the Taurian person, from a child to adolescent to young adult to adulthood and to, past prime. So understand that when you are dealing with a Taurian man, you're dealing with a consolidated being that is a composite of many life experiences which help mold its philosophy. And if you don't understand where the Taurian man or the Taurian woman is coming from, and you just get caught up in the physical appearances and what they can do in the bedroom, then this can be a disastrous set of conditions waiting to happen. Because then, like in the initiatory stages of a relationship, the honeymoon stage, you got caught up on the honeymoon stage of the relationship. You saw the partner through rose-colored glasses and not as they really are. Because when that, again, honeymoon phases out, and then you're left with the actual reality of the situation and the person, then what? Are you going to throw the person away, or are you going to work through it and handle it? If you decide that after the imagery and the romance and the honeymoon stage is over, that this is the person that you want to end up being with. You see? And with the Taurian man or woman, if you're not accustomed to a slow, deliberate, and predictable routine, which is what Taurians symbolize in their private lives and in their professional lives alike, then you might not appreciate the Taurian. The Taurian is not one for spontaneity and flux and change and episodic existence. The Taurian nature is quite peaceful and tranquil. And if you are that type of person, that you are also peaceful and tranquil and love nature, like taking walks in the park, like rock formations. One of the things that Taurians love, because remember, it's all about, they have beautiful, symmetrical, physical bodies. Doesn't matter what shape and size it comes in. A Taurian person takes their clothes off, whether they're big or skinny, or slender or lanky, or stoic or totonic, they are going to arouse a certain level of interest and sensuality. It is the nature of Taurus. Remember, the opposite polarity of Taurus is Scorpio. So it's in the Taurian to vibrate and even exude sexual brilliance and sensuous promises of pleasures, of untold pleasures of the bedroom. Now, this is all good for Miss Pisces. It's all good. As much as I'm loving this cranberry martini, she will love the Taurian man. Lick her fingers when she's done, because that is one unsatiable woman when it comes to the bedroom, as most women can be. Not just Miss Pisces, but Miss Pisces is eager and looks forward to it and takes the cake and enjoys it. I tell people that the water signs, Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces are the signs that most enjoy sex. And I'm talking archetypically. I'm not saying that the Sag and the Taurian and the Gemini don't like and love and crave sex. If they do more than the average, then there's special water emphasis on their charts. But archetypically speaking, the real performers when it comes to sex and the enjoyment of it and pleasures of it and longevity of it, like in porno movies, are the water signs. These are the sex signs, are the water signs. Second to the earth signs. The water signs are sexual. The earth signs are sensual. The air and the fire signs also express a certain level of sexuality and sensuality, but not to the degree or to the extent that the water signs and the earth signs do. It's more of a secondary priority for us, water and earth. Not so much for the air and fire. They may take third place, but that doesn't mean that the third place is any less effective or more watered down than the water sign and earth sign. It's just a different set of priorities and orientation when it comes to sex and the air signs and the earth and the fire signs. With the earth signs and the water signs, sexual intimacy is more intimate. Not so much with the fire signs and the air signs. They enjoy sex, don't get me wrong, it can be just as good as the water signs and the earth signs. But the level of closeness and intimacy and personalness approach when it comes to sex seems to be more intimate with the water signs and the earth signs than it is with the fire signs and the air signs. So understand that if you are a fire sign or an air sign dating a Taurian, the level of sensuality that they can exude may be thrilling, but at the same time can be complex, because emotional dynamics among water signs and earth signs can be complex. These are demonstrative signs, particularly in that department, in the sexual intimacy department. So the Taurian man will have no problem expressing that, or the Taurian woman, or receiving it. Because another situation is to show intimacy and give it. It's another to receive it and being comfortable in receiving it. So when it comes to Taurus and Pisces, they are quite comfortable giving of each other in this very special way and being honest. And sex between these two can be very regenerative, procreative. And that lends an example as to how they are going to relate outside the bedroom. There's going to be an equal harmony, an equal partnership, an equal concern, a certain level of empathy and compassion and consideration. This sign is absolutely beautiful as a combination. The problem becomes when we're dealing with mundane matters, like I talked about in part one. Is the ability of Pisces, if we're dealing with the woman, to handle the daily vicissitudes of life, balancing a checkbook, multitasking, getting into the flux of the primary world, which for the Pisces woman, interests in degree to the Pisces man, can show a certain degree of difficulty. It can be a little bit difficult, especially if they haven't learned the tools when they were younger to get them to a level where they can be self-supporting, in the sense that they know how to handle conflict resolutions and they know how to handle crisis. When it comes to crisis, both Pisces and Taurus don't do well. Taurus doesn't like change, and crisis is a prelude to change. Okay? I mentioned that the word crisis is Greek and it means decision. So a crisis is a decision, a call to action, a call for a change. And even though Pisces doesn't mind the changeable natures of life because she accepts the changeable natures within herself, the Taurian man as well as the Taurian woman will have a problem dealing with sudden change and disruption of routine, which the Pisces woman as well as the Piscean man, especially more so the Piscean man than the Piscean woman, can bring to the Taurian. Both the Pisces man and the Pisces woman can bring untold crisis and disruptions to the Taurian nature and routinely knit life that he has or she has set out for themselves. And this can cause tremendous instability to the Taurian, whether it's a man or a woman. I will have to say that the situation can become far more intense if we're dealing with a Taurus woman and a Pisces man. The Pisces man, like I had mentioned in my Pisces video for the men and in other subsequent videos dealing with Pisces and the different other signs of the zodiac, is that the Pisces man, especially if he's younger, can really be reckless and kind of like all over the place and not really have it quite together. And those that seemingly appear to have it together, the fabric is unraveled at the seams sooner or later once, they lose an ounce or an inch of control. Okay? The Piscean nature is volatile, unpredictable, episodic, and inconstant. And that can prove challenging and frustrating to the Taurian man or woman who has to put up with those kinds of incongruencies of Pisces. So how do you handle it? How do you handle that? Both signs, Pisces will be more of the risk taker, both the man and the woman, than the Taurian. Remember, the Taurian wants to preserve the status quo, while Pisces is indifferent to it. So for this combination to work, the differences of philosophy will be what will break them apart if they can never get it to work. But if they can incorporate each of their philosophies and values and come together and make a whole new one together, because the Taurian set of values is not going to be enough to satisfy the Piscean, and the Piscean set of values is not going to be enough to satisfy the Taurian. They both are going to have to sacrifice a part of their value system and become together in marriage and create a new value system in which they can coexist together and respect. And that's how this combination can work. And we're done.